Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Yes, this is This Week in Pop Culture. My name is Arash Zandieh. With me, as always, is our deemed colleague, Michael Bergy. And with
Hello,
us
guys.
is the lovely and accentuate, the amazing Sammy Castillo.
Hey guys and gals and dogs and felines and whatever else is watching this.
And chickens and tigers, lions and bears. Oh my. You know what? How you guys been? How was the weekend? I know it was raining by Sammy this week. It's been on and off by me. I don't know how it is by you.
Same thing. A little bit of rain yesterday. Poured really bad for like a good 2 hours, and then nothing.
Let's get into some fun, exciting news that we like to talk about for this week. As my phone just kept blowing up and everything. Actually, you know what, Mike? You have a choice. You want Marvel news or you want Comic-Con news?
Let's go Marvel news first.
All right, Marvel news first. Well, Chris Evans believed that his time as Captain America is over. Now, if we all know and we watch the movies, we watch any of the movies, we all know Captain America has only aged, and Loki still has that lovely little stone and has gone back in time. You guys really think that Chris Evans is done as Captain America? Sammy, what do you think?
Well, he's said multiple times, like even before the last Avengers film, that once it was over, he's done.
Right.
And I think honestly, if they do have him back, they're gonna have him back as like kind of a secondary cameo character, as opposed to Captain America movie. Because nothing for nothing, but the dude's been playing Captain America for 10 years.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure the dude wants to doesn't want to eat, dried chicken and rice and greens so he can keep his like 12-pack abs. I mean, the dude probably wants a burger.
But he did the Chris Evans workout. Chris Evans ate like elk one time and still did a kick-ass workout.
But still, like, I'm sure he wants to not work out, 6 hours, 8 days a week.
Correct.
And he's getting to the age where he has to work out more because, he's getting older. But I think we'll see him back, but I don't think we'll see him back as a main role title character.
Okay. Mike?
I agree. I don't think we're going to – I mean, I kind of agree and disagree a little bit. I don't think he's going to be the lead character of a movie. Like he's going to be, Captain America, whatever, Part 5 or Part 10 or something, whatever movie. But I definitely think we're going to see him in flashbacks because he went back in time. He brought the time stone. So who knows, maybe did they film any scenes that they could use in future movies that we don't know about? Because I'll bet you the Russos probably had him on set and were like, look, we're going to film a couple of scenes. We need you for a couple of things. We know you don't want to wear this again. Let's get it out of the way now. So why not do that? And then you have those scenes. He's going to show up in WandaVision. I bet he's going to show up in the Loki series. I think he's going to show up in Winter Falcon and that one.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier. I think he's going to show up in there. I don't know if he's going to be like, which Cap are we going to see though? Are we going to see maybe the one in the past, or are we going to see the one in that's the current, like old, grayed out, Steve Rogers?
Well, we get a different view and stuff out of him, so we'll see.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe we get him like that, dressed as like the older Steve Rogers, and we have him doing it where he's showing the wisdom that he's learned throughout the ages of like, hey, here's how we did with Baron Zemo. Here's how I did this. Here's how I would do this. Maybe give them, because Falcon probably is not fit right now where he thinks he's the best Captain America, because I mean, the guy before him was a living legend, and you're just a mere mortal that has some military training. The other guy has a sense of healing. He can, do all that stuff. I still see him because I think Marvel and Disney is going to dump a boatload of money in his pocket like they did with Robert Downey Jr. to bring him back for X amount of movies. So,
I know Sammy's trying to share.
What? I'm sorry.
I said we know you're trying to share because you're like putting up the feed and putting it back.
I know, I'm trying to share this stupid thing and I can't find the share button.
I started hearing other people talking. I'm like, wait, do we add somebody in that we didn't know about? I'm like, who's the hidden person?
There's two of me.
What do you think, Hash? Do you think he's back or do you think he's out?
I think he's on a break. I think he's got his cameos that he's gonna have for WandaVision. I think he has his cameos for Loki. I think he has cameos for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I see him taking a nice couple of year break. I see him taking a long break for this new phase of Marvel until they bring the new version of the Infinity War back, which has to bring back Captain America because don't forget Loki still holds one of the stones. So they still so a team has to come back. And if they come back, that also resets everything again. And here is the rebirth of Captain America. Would it be Chris Evans? We don't know. But I think a lot of people like the idea of having Bucky for a short while because we did get a glimpse of that for a hot minute.
Yeah, that was cool. I'd be down for him.
Yeah, and
Bucky was Captain America in the comics as well, wasn't he?
Bucky was also after when they brought Captain America back, they gave it straight to Bucky. So
That's
Bucky, yeah. So, but a lot of people did have a hard time. A lot of people had a hard time with Captain America holding a gun until they had to say, by the way, it's Bucky, not Steve Rogers. They're like, oh, okay, that's why his costume kept changing a lot. At one point, Captain America was wearing the U.S. agent, which was also the Bucky costume.
Yeah.
Someone was nice enough. Actually, Matthew Clark says we need a Deathstroke movie. Deadpool is the copy of him. I believe Joe Mangana, right? If I'm saying his name,
Manganiello.
Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello.
Will be portraying the Deathstroke character if they greenlight the Batman series. And once the Batman series is greenlit, you'll also have Deathstroke. Because that was teased for us at one point.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of what was it, Justice League? You had that at the end of it where he's on the boat with Lex Luthor. Which I'm sorry, what's his name? Jesse Eisenberg. That is the worst version of Lex Luthor. Like, come on, that's still it's cringeworthy.
Well, we'll just go right to Deadpool news then. Since we just got to Marvel, we're just going to Deadpool news.
There we go.
How do you guys feel about? Well, what'd you say, Sammy?
Segue.
Yeah, segue.
Excellent.
Always excellent. Excellent. We're gonna go right to Deadpool. Well, Deadpool, people are speculating that Deadpool should take over for the Stan Lee cameos. Now, I for one kind of want to see where this goes, But Sammy was quick to shake her head. Let's go.
Let's go. What about why they're not going to do it?
Why they shouldn't? You shook your head in disgust.
Because the Stan Lee. I didn't shake it in disgust. It's a nice dream, but the thing is that they might have him maybe walking in the background, but the fact that of him having an actual in-depth, aside from the licensing shit that needs to go on,
right.
It doesn't make any sense because it breaks the fourth wall way too much in films that don't break the fourth wall. Okay. Whereas having Stan Lee in there was kind of a nod to, one of the guys that perpetuated the industry, helped create the industry with all of the artists and stuff like that. So that's one thing, and he was this dude, but having Deadpool in the mailman role is going to remove you from your immersion of that film so bad because you're going to be laughing about Deadpool being in the next Avengers film or whatever. Okay. That it's not going to fit with the tone of the films. I mean, just look back at, the last Avengers flick. Had there been, I think there was a Stan Lee.
There was a Stan Lee cameo, yes.
Okay, yeah. So, super serious flick. Imagine Deadpool doing that role. So all of that emotional seriousness that you've built up and that little tinge of humor of Stan Lee going in, saying Tony Stank or whatever. Imagine that being Deadpool. So you just lost like all immersion and emotional, emotional investment in that film. So as a storyteller, that's it. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it'll fly the way that people think it is because it's not a comic book.
Michael, as you're chewing away.
I know. I'm having some Bunch of Crunch, the Nestle Bunch of Crunch things, a little snack. I'm a huge Deadpool fan. I've been a fan of Deadpool since I remember first seeing him. Do I want him as the cameo and all the stuff? Yes and no. I can see him maybe in a lighthearted way where you do it in like a comedy style movie, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe he's somewhere off there. But if it's a serious type based movie, I wouldn't mind them. We know Stan's gone. I don't want to see another cameo, but if you're going to, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe an Iron Man reference, a Captain America reference, where they're never going to be in the movies going forward unless somehow we go back in time, change history. Wanda uses her powers the correct way. I don't know, but if I wouldn't mind, like me and you were chatting one day, I was sitting there saying how like you go into maybe they do something in Brooklyn and where Captain America's hometown is, and there's like the coffee shop that he helped maybe save during the Chitauri invasion. They have a shield on the wall and they have something there that was signed by him. And it's kind of like a, hey, thanks for being there and supporting us. Maybe do an Iron Man helmet at something like a school. And you have those little nods and hits to references to all the Avengers, maybe in the future movies. And you throw something in the background. Do a Stan Muriel on the wall somewhere or something like that.
More than anything else, where they'll reference the character and it'll be a picture of like Stan Lee or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe there's somebody else they could use, like use the Watchers and stuff like that make cameos in the movies because they have been throughout history of it. But using Deadpool, I think it's gonna. And I know someone put in here that he's the only one that knows Stan's gone.
Yeah.
So having him in there to do that, maybe you do it like you throw one in there for him in like a comedy style movie. Maybe he's in Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy out in somewhere in the universe. I think that'd be hilarious as a quick, he's in it in the background. He walks in, oh, I don't belong in this movie and just walks off. Like that'd be something kind of humorous. Oh, wrong planet, and he breaks the fourth wall and walks off. Like, I think that'd be fine. But do I want to see him in, the next Black Panther movie or the Marvels that are going to be bringing in Fantastic Four or X-Men? No. I'm a huge Deadpool fan.
Well, I think he's going to be an X-Men regardless because there's such a heavy X-Men influence, like presence in his own films. So
they also but if you looked at the X-Men they used in those films, those are the only ones that they had the rights to, really, because Fox didn't have the rights. So that's why we got stuck with Colossus and Super Negasonic Warhead Teenager, whatever her name was. Like, seriously.
She wasn't. I don't think she's an actual comic character, is she?
No, she's not.
No.
She's made up.
Fox made her up.
Yeah. Fox made her up because they had nothing else.
What about you?
Well, I was trying to get to something, but what the hell is it? So you don't want Deadpool to be almost like a Where's Waldo, as Sammy said. Pretty much, it's like you're going to be going into a movie and you're going to be hunting and looking for Deadpool the whole entire time instead of just like the scene naturally having him like most of the other times. Like Stan Lee was just naturally there when they had the 70s scene for Endgame. He was naturally there. When he was the postman, not once but twice, he was naturally there. When he was the librarian, he was just naturally there.
Yeah.
So with Deadpool wouldn't be the natural thing unless it's unmasked Deadpool and he happens to be walking his dog. And
but even then, he doesn't look like he's completely unnatural. I mean,
right.
you'd notice a scarred, head-to-toe burn victim walking behind whatever things happening.
There are actual scarred head-to-toe people walking in society. I have a friend who is scarred and from head to toe, and he walks around society.
Well, so I know that, but in a film context, even if you're not in a film context, that person will stick out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, that guy doesn't look like everyone else. He looks different. I notice him. It's not a bad notice. It's not a good notice. It's just that's that person.
I wouldn't mind seeing if you're going to do that in the background, kind of like a hint thing. Maybe you have something like he was saying, like Deadpool's walking his dog, but he's in full like Deadpool gear and he's just on the back street somewhere and you see
Yeah.
him walking the dog. Or maybe he's at the local cafe getting a cup of coffee or something, or a taco shop. That'd be hilarious. Have a taco shop and he's getting chimichangas, and then he just takes off and leaves.
Or
That would be like a quick scan of the city. I think that'd be pretty neat.
Or you get a Mr. Softy truck and it drives by selling burritos.
And you don't even have to. You don't even have to have Deadpool, and you just have that truck doing it.
Right.
And honestly, give me Lewis from Ant-Man driving that truck, driving through. I think, dude, I'm done. That's who should be doing the cameos.
Okay, so we can agree. If it's not Deadpool, Lewis is in the background telling a story.
I would. Oh my god, I'd piss myself laughing.
Right.
I could see easily hiding other things, like other parts of the universe. I mean, that's what they did in Guardians of the Galaxy.
It
was awesome at doing that,
right.
And it fit because seeing the it looked like the Dark Elf from Dark World.
Yes.
Or Dark World. I mean, for God's sake, you had huh?
You talking about Malachi, the Dark Elf?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the collector's thing.
Well, you had Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howard the Duck, but in the scene where they first start walking in, the white guys in the black armor from the second Thor film, he's got one in the containment thing.
Oh yeah, he does. He has one of the Dark Elves. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in Thor Ragnarok, his sister comes by saying, "Oh, it's a fake," and tosses it away, the gauntlet.
Yeah, but like I could easily see them, adding more of that kind of stuff in there since we're already past that. I don't even know what phase we're on now, but we've had a decade of Marvel shit. Instead of adding Stan Lee in there, I could easily see them, adding adding other stuff in there and kind of doing the mythology into that, adding mythology into the series and stuff.
I would like some Easter eggs to maybe future shows or future stuff that could tie into maybe like some of the Disney Plus shows. Because S.H.I.E.L.D. we know is ending, so Disney Plus is going to have everything. Maybe they do some Easter eggs that hints at future shows or episodes or something that could happen in the new movies. I mean, it's something kind of cool.
Is there an actual full list, or did we get that all like frozen because of what's been going on of what was supposed to be released besides Black Widow and what was it, New Mutants, right? They're supposed to come out.
The New Mutants was supposed to come out. We have the Doctor Strange.
No, movies.
The
TV shows were supposed to be fill-ins for what happened afterwards, and then during the fill-ins, we're supposed to have the movies.
Right.
We're supposed to have Black Widow to kind of explain one little aspect before Endgame, and then there was supposed to be, oh my God, New Mutants, and one other one. And then for the second phase, there was a whole lineup when it came to Black Panther 2, to
Doctor Strange 2,
Doctor Strange 2, and then
not Inhumans, right? But
no, Inhumans.
The Eternals. Thank you, Eternals. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, one of them got canceled.
The TV show ruined it.
Yeah. And
I just looked up Marvel films on hold, and it says Eternals, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yes, this was supposed to be Natalie Portman's her way back into this every cinematic universe, we'll say.
Yeah.
Well, they also said with the what is it, Doctor Strange, the main villain could actually be one of the heroes, is what they're thinking. And the rumor has it could be Scarlet Witch, because she does the WandaVision, and that could bring in the House of M, which would be a phenomenal series to bring in, and all those characters where I would love that. That was probably one of my favorite comic runs for a while there. Like that one, 1681. There's some great comic runs there.
Because they can't explain the birth of Wanda without the idea of Magneto. And Actually,
Well, they did explain the birth of Wanda, which was the Mind Stone.
yeah.
He was basically created from the Mind Stone, so
Yeah,
that's
both
how
of
they
them.
were created. Yeah, but then and now you were. I don't know. It just be interesting. I didn't want to segue to something else, but we were going to talk about another
We are
character too.
segueing into something else because you went right into WandaVision and everything else. And we'll just go right into it. The other X-Men's Quicksilver is supposed to has apparently landed a role in the new WandaVision. But
Awesome.
they haven't said exactly who he's supposed to, I forgot to read the article. But if one of you guys read the article or finished reading the article, you guys can tell me what exactly happened, because I think he's either someone said he's not playing Quicksilver, but he's playing another character that's supposed to be in WandaVision.
That'd be weird if he wasn't Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, look at Chris Evans.
Right.
Well, I mean, if he's not Quicksilver, when Wanda and Vision had their kids, what were the name of the children?
Right.
And then did she maybe she brings back her brother, but she doesn't bring the brother from this universe. She brings a brother from another universe because he was still alive.
Who could
Maybe.
be? That could be, and that would be a very interesting story.
I'd be okay with that. I liked him better as Quicksilver than the other dude.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Taylor or something. I liked him better as Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he
when
was cool as Kick-Ass, but like as Quicksilver, he wasn't Quicksilver. Like
No.
he was just kind of a dude that ran fast. He like had no personality. It was like you could dress a piece of wood up with a gray wig and make it move fast, and boom,
You just
Quicksilver.
don't like it. Just admit, you just don't like his fake Russian accent or whatever the hell it is. And then by the next movie, Wanda had no Russian accent.
Sylvania, whatever it was.
Right.
I like the kid from the X-Men series where he did the Quicksilver, especially that one scene where they were getting Magneto out and they played the music and he's running around and he's tapping this and he's doing that. Like that, to me, that's how I wanted Quicksilver. Like he was that comical style, and I like that. And I think because we got him first, and then the Marvel Universe one came in, I was just like, I really don't like this guy too much. He's arrogant and cocky, which I didn't care for. I like the comical Joker guy.
And Quicksilver in the comics was kind of a smartass.
Yes.
You know, he was a quick-witted dude. So like having monosyllabic Kick-Ass that looked like he was going out for an eternal jog. Like the dude had like no presence like in any form or fashion. And it's funny because like looking back on it, he was supposed to make enough of an impact, but you'd be okay that he died.
Right.
And that's exactly what they designed that Quicksilver to do. Because when he died, you were like, oh shit, but he was the expendable character.
Well, this could also be it too, with Wanda reopening the door, and then with the possibility of House of M. That X-Men franchise, if they decide to keep the cast, but pretty much the news has been saying that if they bring back the House of M, they're gonna refocus the whole X-Men franchise just on Cyclops, because they've based it on every other character except for Cyclops.
That's because Cyclops is boring.
I can't see them doing Cyclops as the main focus of House of M. That would be kind of boring, truthfully. I don't know. Never been a huge Cyclops fan.
Mike, can you explain this to me real quick? Someone's trying to sell you Ecto 1 for $50?
No, that's my buddy Dave. I've gone to school. I've known Dave since like 5th grade. Me and him are going back and forth on some Transformer pieces, and he's telling me, hey,
Right.
Dave, I'll message you afterwards when I'm done with this. Sorry, man. But thank you. I appreciate you looking out for me. We're doing Transformer things, and he is, he's a fellow Transformer fan.
Yeah, look at the side deals happening right now and everything. Look at this side deal.
And then,
so
gotta get my Transformer fix in. I
don't blame him, but Dave also says Cyclops. Cyclops is a great. I've always liked Cyclops. When I watched X-Men the animated series, my biggest. I actually, besides Wolverine and Gambit, my other character was always Cyclops.
I agree with J-Bo. Cyclops is a bitch.
See, I like Nightcrawler. I'm a huge fan of Nightcrawler, Iceman. I love Wolverine. Like those are my guys I've always dug in the X-Men universe. So those are the ones. And if you're gonna have Cyclops, if I don't have Wolverine busting his beans about Jean Grey, he's nothing. Like I'm all set.
Right.
Why
You
is it
want
surprised that I don't like the goody two shoes flat character?
right. But it's just like the animated series up into like the actual live action. Cyclops always had a friction with Wolverine, but Wolverine back then always knew that Cyclops was the leader.
Yeah.
Well, the reason there was friction was because Wolverine wanted to diddle Jean Grey. That's why there was friction. Let's just flat out say that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I agree 100% with Wolverine. You know, he's fucking vanilla. He's white bread. But there's no spice to that.
Cyclops is the leader. He
is Marvel's version of Superman, because Superman's super fucking boring as a person too.
Well, then you have that where Cyclops is a fun boy.
That hurts me.
I think you meant that negatively.
Yes, I know.
that cuts deep there, Sammy, about Superman. That cuts deep about Superman.
Here's the thing. This is why I've been a Batman artist for most of my career. So when you are invulnerable and you know that you can rush into a building, save all of these people, and not get hurt by a damn thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that does make you a hero. I will put that out there. But that doesn't make you brave, because you're not putting anything on the line. You could just walk down the street and it's like getting groceries for you. That's not bravery. Running in when you have no powers and you have to rely on your little human self and you're fighting against fuckers like Darkseid and, amped up Lex Luthor, then that is bravery. That's bravery. That's why I don't like Superman, because he's not brave.
Superman is brave because Superman knows that he is.
Bravery is being afraid of something and doing it anyway. It's standing and seeing your death on the ridge and going, let's do this anyway.
That's Clark Kent. That's why Clark Kent was always learned to be a puny human at all times, and then when he became brave later, he would try to use the Superman persona as that.
Well, I'm not saying he's not a hero. That's being a hero. That's not brave.
Well, you're basically saying Superman's not brave because he's brave because he can go into a fire, take everyone, save everyone, put the fire out, stuff like that. You view him as anything because there's nothing that really can harm the man. But you also got to figure he also wrestles with a lot of internal, issues where he's not from this earth. He's not accepted by humanity. He is.
Yeah.
But he wrestles with a lot of stuff, and then also being that he is of that Kryptonian power where he's not of Earth, like he could kill somebody if he rushes in wrong or takes them out the wrong way. He could cause further damage from doing something. So he has to think of a lot of stuff. But I do get what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
All right. So now there's a lot of feedback now.
Yeah.
I know. Look at all the stuff I started.
Sammy, lower your speaker.
My speaker's at like 2.
Oh.
It's picking up something else of the show.
How does that mean?
It's one of you guys.
I have nothing on for volume.
Yeah.
I'm at like 30%, and I lowered my mic to 40.
I've just moved my speaker away so I can see if that crap works.
Because I'm not getting feedback on my end.
No, I'm not getting feedback on my end.
I'm just hearing the show come back. It's the show that seems to be coming back.
Yeah, I don't think it's any of us.
No. The heck? Man,
all right, what's our next topic that I sidetracked us on?
All the damn time. I feel like Sammy just wants to talk. See, this is what happens, right? We can talk about all the books. See all the crazy books behind her and everything. See, you see all those books.
That's only that's like 20%.
20%.
Yeah, I put half of them on the shelf already. She's the only one without an echo.
So we'll see. What the heck did we go with? Since you guys all got me off topic, and everything else too. So,
It was a proper segue. We were talking about what a little bitch Cyclops was.
no.
And Quicksilver and stuff like that in the world and stuff.
I
Right,
like
you know what?
the kid
You
and
know
the
what?
actor that played the Quicksilver. I don't know what character he's going to play. I hope he plays Quicksilver again because that would be awesome.
Right. But we'll see. What the heck is it? Since we already got to DC, we were talking about Superman. We can go back and talk about Batwoman. While Batwoman still has not recasted Kate Lane in the wake of Ruby Rose's exit, new character eyed to lead series, which they haven't said anything about leading anyone yet. Um, who do you guys think could help, I guess, carry on the Batwoman legacy, or do they cancel Batwoman altogether? Mike, you seem to be watching the series more than anyone else, but
I mean, I followed the whole series. I'm just curious now if they're not going to recast, Kate Kane as Batwoman. What direction are they going to take the show in, being that it's called Batwoman?
right.
Like who was the second one that took over as it was basically Batgirl? So it was never another Batwoman, right? Kate Kane's been the only Batwoman as far as to my knowledge, correct?
They
Correct.
could bring in Barbara Gordon as Batwoman. I mean, it's not that hard to segue.
Wasn't she Batgirl though? First she was
Batgirl. Yes, she was never Batwoman.
But could they bring her in, being that it's now the Crows is in charge of Gotham, not Jim Gordon in the police department?
Well, I mean, they could bring her in as just another character. They've done it before, where they've brought in a character and then just kind of axed the person's origin to suit their purposes.
CW's pretty.
I mean, look at Flash.
Flash on season 2 was pretty much season 2 rewrote season 1.
Yeah. So I think honestly, from what I read, from multiple different from multiple different news sources, I have no comment on Supergirl. They're redoing, like they're bringing in a whole new character and basically relaunching the series with this, new character. They could also bring in the what Batgirl? I can't never remember the Asian chick where her eyes were all sewn out in the mouth. Was sewn out, the Batgirl.
I know who you're talking about too, and I can't think of the name.
Tommy Drew Batgirl, and I can't remember the stupid character's name, but she's got everything stitched. She was like one of the assassin people. Anyway,
yes,
they could bring her in as Batwoman. I think they're going to bring in a name that we know, but not in the way that we're used to seeing the character. And I think it's smart, because what they're probably going to be doing is fixing all of the stuff that people don't like about the show, because that character was not well received by its target audience, to like its purpose of bringing in the LGBTQ community. They didn't like her. Nobody really liked her. And it'd be really hard for them to cast another actor that has to dig them out of that hole. So I think they're going to, with them axing that new character, or that, Kate Kane, is that her name?
Yeah, Kate Kane.
Terrible with names, but axing her and then bringing in another one is their smartest and easiest course of action to kind of fix their mistakes.
So you're saying instead of Batwoman, they can easily segue into one of the other Bat family members
Exactly.
Not seen yet. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, because we're not attached to her, Right.
As you can tell, no one's attached to her.
No one's attached to her. Nobody liked her. And I mean, I could easily see where Kate dies or whatever, and then, Oracle decides to put the cowl on as Batgirl because Batman's MIA. Like, I could easily see that. Oh shit, it's Barbara Gordon.
Could you even think about where it could be maybe Pennyworth's daughter who takes up the mantle, maybe her now, and does it until we get Barbara Gordon, because we're not going to get Huntress.
No.
Which I mean, I would love to see Huntress in it, but we're not going to get her or the Canaries. that would be awesome for it, like Black Canary and that. But that's rumored for Green Arrow and the Canaries on CW as a spinoff that they want to do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they're gonna, because they got the whole girl power thing going on over there, and it worked. I mean, it's a good formula. And they want to make a darker, like a more comic-y sort of world. And I mean, bringing in, you you already brought in Kevin Conroy as Old Man Batman, and the,
super cynical.
Oh my God,
Batman,
dark Batman.
Yeah.
He has now officially played Batman in every single capacity, which is awesome.
Yep.
That made me happy. I'm a huge Conroy fan.
So you're saying live action Kevin Conroy as Batman would probably be the best or next scenario?
No, not at all. The dude's like 70 years old. There's no way he could be a Batman unless they brought in Terry McGinnis.
Oh, there you go. Lucius Fox's Batwing. That would be a better situation. Lucius Fox's Batwing, especially now having a black character or black Batman in, would probably be the better choice.
Well, yeah. I mean, they could bring in Batwing, or Batwing or Nightwing?
Batwing.
No, he's Batwing.
Batwing.
Lucius Fox's son was Batwing? Where was I?
So I don't know. Yeah, he was in that one of the cartoons. They named it in one of the cartoon movies. They made him that.
And he's got a toy. There's a toy out for him too. I think I have it.
I mean, I would like to see him play Batwing, but the way his character is, he's a little too nerdy, and he doesn't strike me as the type that's going to want to go toe to toe with somebody like in a fight scene. And I think that's where the CW on Batwoman misses the mark on a lot of their fight scenes. They just don't seem to add the action, and I get excited like, oh man, there's gonna be a fight scene. This is gonna be good. It's like 2-3 punches. She gets her butt kicked, gets up, she kicks a guy, and you can see the pull punches, how bad they are, and like I feel like you can see the wires half the time on the fight scenes. I think they need to redo that series. If not, it's done after this year. Second season, I don't think it makes it past it.
So
if they don't get the right cast, I think it's gone.
So, like, you want to be more campy. It sounds like you want like a better action sequence to like the original Batman Michael Keaton version, where even though he saw the punches coming, but he's very good at just being like Batman and be like, I'm blocking. Like,
I don't want campy like the original Batman in the '60s type campy where you get the pow and kapow and that. No, I don't want that.
I don't want '70s Batman.
But I want a little bit better where the fight scenes seem a little bit more believable, where I look at her and she's going to go up against 4 or 5 thugs and she's going to fight them, and it doesn't look crappy. Just the fight scenes look like they're not choreographed correctly. They don't look good. At least Arrow, the scenes look good. Superman, they look good. That stuff, it just does not look right.
Well, I also don't think that she had any real sort of fight training. I don't think she did any sort of real fight training.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all of the, all of the other actors in the CW group had massive amounts of fight training, so that they could do a lot of the close-up hand-to-hand stuff. But upon Googling and reminding myself of Batwoman's history, they could do the original Batwoman was, of course, Kathy Kane, but her niece, Betty Kane, became the first Batgirl, even before Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
So they could have Betty Kane come in as like a cousin or sister, or I don't know if she was in Batwoman at all, but Renee Montoya, her love interest in the comics, they could also bring her in. The detective, they could also bring her in as Batgirl. Those are pretty easy like side steps, and they're taking a character that the comic people know, reinventing it like they do, but we're more accepting of that, knowing that lore and history already.
Or just kill season 1, just go right to season 2 with the girl from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then just call it a day.
Well, they've already said they're going to get rid of the Kate character.
They don't have to kill the Kate character.
Well, they don't have to kill her, but they're getting rid of her. She's no longer Batwoman.
Facelift, How many times we can get that one scene where Batgirl gets face beaten, and then 2 or 3 episodes later, we get the new face reveal.
I mean, what would be interesting, which is like a super far leap, is like if we come into season 2 and finding out that during our off season, the Joker killed the original Batwoman.
That'd be funny.
I mean, he killed what's his name?
Yeah, they could say Montoya would just be a good choice and just say Batwoman disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, they did it with Batman.
Oh, well, now
Literally,
they just introduced Batman into the Batwoman series.
right.
So
You know,
who's
and
Batman?
so they could easily bring that in.
So
What?
who's going to be Batman? Or are we still going to get Kevin Conroy's Batman?
Well, that was a different Earth Batman that no longer exists, so it doesn't matter. He's dead.
Bring Robin in. Bring Dick.
Honestly, like I think that's where they're like tiptoeing in. You know, like I think we're going to see the Arrowverse kind of come to a close. Jason Todd, thank you. I forget all of his little sidekicks.
There's too many Robins to keep a track of now.
Yeah, but I think the next major verse that they're going to do is the Batman verse. They're going to do the Batverse is going to be the next kind of thing that they're going to do, because don't they already have the Batman, Superman and Lois?
Yes.
Superman and Lois from Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So they're like, that's a stone's throw to get a Batman TV show, which would be awesome. We need like a non-animated Batman TV show that's not him as an 8-year-old coincidentally knowing all of his villains that he's going to know when he's in his 30s.
But how can you do it? Granted, you just did Gotham. Would you bring the same kid in to, come in and do the Batmobile?
No.
No.
Bring in like they did with Superman. Bring in a completely new dude. And I only watched like 2 episodes of Gotham, and I slept through both of them. To me, it was pretty boring.
I watched the whole series. I actually didn't mind it. They had some good characters in it. The guy that played Victor Zsasz was really good. Like, they had some good guys. I liked the guy that played Alfred Pennyworth. But the David Matsu, who played Bruce Wayne and eventually becomes Batman, horrible. He was just a whiny little brat the entire, movie, TV series. So if you're going to recast that, I wouldn't mind it, but do it someone, maybe it's like the early 20s. We start to see him become maybe a vigilante style before he actually becomes Batman, and he fights different styles of criminals and different stuff. I think we could definitely use it. And you have, like everyone's saying, you have other characters that you could use in that, where you don't even have to touch upon the Joker, Penguin, Scarecrow. You have other characters that are probably B and D-listers that they probably could create and showcase in that series.
Well,
I would love a Batman TV series.
Well, I like what Tim just said. Just use lesser characters, which I've always liked that idea. Build the world and let those top tiers stay in the fringe, and then only hint at them. Would be a good forum for CW. That's something that I can get behind, of just bringing in the lower tier villains or characters, and let's build from the ground up.
Yeah.
Well, if they want to do a Justice League TV show or anything, which they're amping up for, you gotta have the big five. You gotta have the Fab Five in there. You can't. I mean, you already got Superman. You already got Flash, and the modicum of stuff Flash has. Arrow. You already got the girl. So why not bring Batman in? I mean, it seems a little off the mark to exclude Batman from everything. So, but he's their most popular character next to Superman, and he's going to be the last one to get brought in because everybody's waiting for it, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but I don't know how you're going to explain Cyborg being 5'7", while Superman and Batman are towering over him at over like 5'10" to 6 feet.
Who's playing Cyborg, and why?
They already have Cyborg in Doom Patrol.
Yeah, but that's not a
CW. They already have a TV Cyborg, so they want to.
Yeah, but that's not a CW show, is what I'm saying.
It is sort of a CW show because Doom Patrol end up on HBO Max. So since it is a Warner Brothers DC production, it's still part of like their family storyline, and they've done that. Remember, Supergirl was on CW.
It's not part of the
Supergirl was on
CW
CBS when they did the first crossover.
Yeah.
They could that's hit or miss. Like that's logistics.
I think that's kind of like what Tim was saying earlier, where we used the lesser characters. Like in Gotham, they did that with Pig. They had Pig, and he was basically like the killer, where he was blowing up the cops and stuff like that and doing that. You could bring in some lesser characters and put them in there. I think there's a lot of characters for them to do.
Well, you also have the Robin from Titans as well too.
Yep.
You know, you could do a Nightwing. I could see them doing a Batwoman and then going into a Nightwing TV show.
I would be down with that all day. I absolutely love Nightwing
because I mean, he's like at that point he's in a completely different city.
Well, actually, if they want to keep it, since TV is always based on love stories, and I'm gonna go with Jay said, doing a Robin and Batgirl, it would actually be a Nightwing and Batgirl because you would always have that love interest, and we're everyone on TV is a sucker for a love interest.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I could easily see that happening before they do Batman. I could see Nightwing before Batman.
One show I'm excited for. Well, I'm not excited for it. I've been hoping for them to do it, and they've hinted on it on CW with Smallville, and they've hinted on it before. I want a Booster Gold Blue Beetle show. Tell me,
that's right.
They've hinted on that for Smallville for like the last 2 or 3 seasons. They've hinted on Ted Cord Industries, on Arrow, on Supergirl, everything like that, Flash, whatnot. Please just give me Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
But Michael, do you know who wants to play Booster Gold since the first thought of having Booster Gold have a series or anything?
I mean, I have an idea. I would like to play it, but who's the guy?
Mike Mizanin from the WWE, The Miz, has said multiple times on his Twitter, on his Instagram, that the second DC announced that they were thinking about doing Booster Gold, he was the only person, I would say only person, to go and say, I want to play Booster Gold. So
you know, I like Miz, and I think he could do that because of his wrestling persona, where he does this and stuff like that. I can see him Booster Gold with Skeet, but the guy I want to play it is Dieter Bader, who does the voice of Batman from Brave and the Bold and stuff like that. I think he would be a good live action character for it. But if you're going to do that, give me Miz as that. Skeet has to be Bader. He has to do the voice of Skeet, because I think he would be a great voice of it. If you're not going to give me the live action, Miz would have it. He's charisma. He's a good looking guy. He looks like he could play that role that would be spot on. I'm down with it all day. I'd be okay with that.
Okay, because that was the first thing that happened, and one artist made some funny wacky piece, and he did a Booster Gold one, and still no one caught on that Miz had said day one when DC announced this that he's like, I want Booster Gold, and literally did a mini pose or whatever.
And imagine, and that's one of those characters that not a lot of people oh my God, I'm fighting for. And you got this one guy that's like, no, dude, I'll take it right now. I'm down with it. Let's go.
I think
he'll do a great job with it.
Look, just like all of us, we all want to be voice actors for 1 or 2 pieces. So maybe this could be our audition for getting that.
I definitely have a radio,
you have
voice
a face for radio?
Yeah, exactly.
Face for radios, for background actor, not background actors, for voice actors.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because radio. Actually, to be honest, you can never. To tell you the truth, a lot of radio guys did start off doing radio and end up getting major roles, just like the voice of Duke Nukem. The voice of Duke Nukem was a radio guy for more than 15 years before he got his one shot of just voicing. Yeah. That's what you heard.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? Pay me.
Well, it's the perfect segue to go into your Green Lantern.
Oh, do you want Green Lantern? Oh, see, look at that.
No, I just remember it on the list.
No, I was going to skip Green Lantern. I was going to save him for another time. Because this.
Don't use the perfect segue.
Whatever. Well, you know what? You know what? We already got to that segment. Well, Michael J. White wants to play Green Lantern in future DC movies. What do you guys think? I mean,
that's the guy.
I can't see him past Spawn. Yeah, I can't see him. I still can't see him past Spawn as a hero. I haven't seen. I didn't like him. What is it? Never Hardly Wait, or one of the fighting MMA movies that they came out with him in it. Him playing a detective. I never saw him as that leading actor after that. And to be honest, after seeing him in Dark Knight, where he was opposite of the Joker, I saw him now playing bad guys.
Not to be funny, but he was in The Dark Knight.
Yes, yeah. He was opposite of.
Do you know the scene where the Joker takes the pencil and puts it down
and smashes the guy's face in it? Yeah.
It's not him, but he was sitting across from it. That's him.
Well, that shows you how much of an actorial impact he had. That I'm like,
he was opposite of Heath Ledger. I mean, Jay hit on noggin. Yes, Michael J. White wants to play Jon Stewart, but can you honestly see Michael J. White being Jon Stewart? And yes, we did get to see him in Universal Soldiers, and we did see him in a few times where he is militant, but I mean, the acting, the way
it has the gravitas as an actor to support a leading role. You know, like he's good as like two guys over from the leading man,
right?
Like because you have to have like a certain level of presence and command when you're on screen. I mean, you know, and I just like he just doesn't. To me, he just doesn't have it. I don't think he's got that sort of like gravitas to hold your attention.
And you look at when he was on Arrow, he played Bronze Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't picture.
I don't even remember him as Bronze Tiger.
Exactly. I was going to say, if I didn't mention Bronze Tiger and someone's not quick with Google, I bet you none of our people that are watching this could probably tell me that he was Bronze Tiger in the show. Like, he just was not that memorable of a character. And as an actor and doing the stuff that he's done, a lot of his movies, he's always been that background style character. I agree with you where I don't think he can lead the character. As far as
he'd be a background character.
But but Jon Stewart also still is that guy that has to be there. He's like, he takes the lead sometimes. Like he knows what he's doing. And as a police detective and military guy, he needs that. I think if it's not going to be Diggle from David Ramsey from Arrow, you're not going to do it to him, then I want to say Idris Elba. I would love to see Idris Elba play him. He's a leading actor in the movie series. He's already done Marvel. He's done with Marvel because Heimdall is dead. You bring him over to DC, you put him as that. You now have a guy that fans are going to go see. They like him. He's box office already. People are going to see him. If we're going to make Michael J. White a character, Simon Baz, who was part of the new DC 52, I see him more as that style character because I actually pulled one of my old comics and started looking at it. He looks like that character.
Now Jay, now let's reaching. Jay.
He's just throwing names out there. Like I love Will. Trust me, I'm a Will Smith fan, but I do not want Will Smith as Jon Stewart.
No.
Well,
no
Jay,
way in hell.
I'm gonna jump in on this. I feel like Jay has a lot to say. We can have Jay jump in.
Let him stay in the chat because he's keeping the chat active.
We'll bring Jay.
Maybe we bring Jay in for another show for another week or so. Like we did Jay.
We did Jay bad. No.
Well, like I like Will Smith, but like he's kind of become like Denzel Washington, where it's a like not to make this racist or anything, but it's like it's a black guy role. Denzel Washington. It's a black guy role. Will Smith. Like so it's like they paint like there you go, paintbrush. White people like this one, so let's use him. But like I think Idris Elba would be freaking phenomenal as Jon Stewart.
Well, as we're still on DC and everything, and we're talking about Green Lantern. What about Michael B. Jordan? I mean, someone has said that they could see Michael B. Jordan, if they decide to do for later movies, do Earth 23, which I always laughed at the fact that Earth 23, Michael B. Jordan could easily play the Black Superman. Or could he come in and do Green Lantern? I would, before being Earth 23 Superman, I'd probably be okay with him being Green Lantern.
Yeah.
We're laughing at the whole Earth 23 thing, but
I know I'm like Earth 23, Michael B. Jordan, and it's Michael Jordan playing. That's just comical with that would
Michael
be it.
Jordan, Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I have no. I loved Michael Jordan's character, Michael B. Jordan. Sorry, as
we have to add the B,
Killmonger.
which is
I totally
Yeah, I have to add the B.
realized
Gotta add the
like,
B.
Michael Jordan is Superman.
No.
yeah,
No
that's
way.
the problem. We see
with his, his Air Jordans,
No.
shorts.
But I did like Michael B. Jordan as when he was Killmonger in Black Panther. In my opinion, Marvel, that was one of their best villains that they had. That was non-superpowered, nothing like that. In like just the character, the style of him, I loved his character. Absolutely loved it. I wish they didn't kill him off at the end of Black Panther. Who knows what happened with the snap? Who knows? Maybe alternate universe. I'd love to see him back in the role because he did a fantastic job.
Right.
I just and then I see my buddy Hayes there puts Idris as Superman. No, not Superman, not him. Just I like him as Green Lantern. I think he would be.
Well, don't forget the snap also brings back Idris Elba for the Thor series as well too. So if we go back and get the stone back, that rewrites even all the characters that are dead previously.
But no. When when Hulk did the snap, he brought back anybody who was killed by the snap.
Yeah.
Heimdall was killed before the snap, so was Loki technically. So it was anybody that was dusted because of the snap. That was brought back.
But we forget Loki has the stone.
Right, in an alternate, but that's now an alternate timeline that he disappeared. So he's not brought back by the snap. He's brought back because, Iron Man couldn't hold on to the stone because the Hulk hit him. I mean, come on, Yeah.
But it'd be nice to see what they do for how Marvel redoes everything, so we can get another Infinity War again, which we need anyway in the books.
And honestly, the one thing I'm going to like about Marvel doing stuff, they're not going to retcon anything just to make a character fit a story. Yeah. They're dead in the movies. They're moving on. They're not going to sit there and be like, oh, no, there was this little loophole here and now Scarlet Witch is back. No, they're not going to. They're going to move on with it, which I think is fantastic. Unlike the comic series where it's like, oh, he sneezed. He brought everyone back to life. Like,
real quick, do you think we're now due for a good Hulk movie?
No. I think our best shot at a good Hulk movie was World War Hulk, but they called it Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That was the closest we were going to get. Because don't get me wrong. Come on, tell me you would not love to see a World War Hulk with Meek and, them on his side, and they basically take out Sakaar. They get, go back to Earth. He wipes out pretty much everybody. Like, that to me was one of the best Hulk storylines ever.
The start of Planet Hulk was there as long as they didn't throw Thor in it. Well, they could have kept Thor in it, but Thor leaves and Thor helps him take over the planet. That could have been the start.
But also, wasn't it Beta Ray Bill and Silver Surfer?
Yes.
That was the ones that got the, know.
But I would have taken that storyline.
Oh, yeah.
Castillo Studios is Ben, by the way. I'm not typing in our own chat.
Oh, Ben is
pop up, but I'm like, Castillo Studios.
Yeah, I said that. I was like, really, Sammy? Really?
That way I can have my opinions on two forms, my mouth and chat.
So if anyone's watching right now and they saw Castillo Studios pop up, that's Sammy's company, Castillo Studios. So you can always check out her Facebook page whenever you get a chance, or just click on the name.
Yes,
and Castillo Studios.
My fiance is using it, I guess.
Ben can't use his own name.
What?
Well, at least Ben is on somewhere.
Yeah, because it's the Queen's birthday today.
Oh, he has a day off?
We have the public holiday off, yes.
Wait. But they don't have queens in Australia. How does this work? Okay.
What did you say?
They don't have queens in Australia. How does this work?
Australia is a Commonwealth of Britain, so they honor the Queen.
Technically, that Commonwealth. If no one knows the history of Australia, no, but Australia's a beautiful country.
Uzi, what are you doing?
All right, when you say his head back up, because this is
I'm up.
The top of the hour where I want to discuss DC Comics versus Diamond. Diamond Distribution. DC Comics.
Down with the monopoly.
Right.
Down with the monopoly.
Right. Well, DC Comics, Detective Comics, cut ties with Diamond Comic Distribution. Diamond writes, we recognize that too many of you, this may seem like a momentous decision. However, we can assure you that this change is DC's distribution plan has not been made likely, and follows a long period of thought and consideration. Um, the change of the direction in the line with DC's overall strategic view intend to improve the health of and strengthen the direct market as well as grow the numbers of fans who read comics worldwide. Now, while this happened not too long ago, a number of comic book companies have come out of the woodwork by saying that this DC's poor decision and have now stopped carrying DC Comics because you have to now, where comic book companies have to use 3 alternative distribution companies to get a DC comic. Mike, what do you think of all the chaos of this?
I mean, this is where I'm gonna feign ignorance on. I don't know a lot of this industry for the back end of that stuff. So this is where I would say Sammy's probably the better one to talk to because she probably knows a lot more about this industry, being in it a hell of a lot longer than I have. I used to just go to the comic store and buy my comics, but now if that's going to happen, I mean, I think that's a pretty dick move personally, if that's the case.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's going to hurt their distribution, which is going to hurt characters that fans are going to now, how are they going to find it? Are they going to go to like Walmart's, Targets, like stuff like that to get it? And half the time fans are, maybe they're going to do direct distribution. That's going to affect a lot of businesses that are going to be already hurting from everything.
Well, right before Sammy gives her opinion on this one, I'm going to read you one quote from one of the comic book stores, Earthworld Comics in Albany. One of the people in charge says, "It was a nice gut punch after we just reopened our doors for the first time in 2 months."
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, as a comic fan, you get the kid that's 5, 6 years old. He's sitting at Walmart, and you got those racks that spin around. What do people do? They pull the stuff down. So now the comic gets folded. A 5-year-old, you don't care. But people like us that appreciate the artwork and, you know, have a fan of an artist or, you know, a writer or something like that, we want to collect that. We want to get a pristine copy. Now I can't go to my local comic store that might not be able to carry DC because DC made 14 more hoops for them to jump through. I think that's a dick move big time by DC, but I think overall I think the comic industry is hurting by the movies and whatnot that are getting all the tout and clout, and they're not sitting there saying, hey guys, if you like my character, go pick up your local comic and here's some artists that do this and go check these guys out. You know, they should partner up with that and try to give that where they wouldn't have that role if it wasn't for someone like Sammy, who has been drawing Batman, you know, for 25, 30 plus years or so in the industry and doing stuff. You know, same thing with like Neil Adams, you know, Kirby, you know, Fingeroth, all these guys. If these guys didn't create that, you wouldn't see any of these guys in a comic convention getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for an autograph for a character that they didn't help or didn't do anything about and probably didn't give a crap, but they fit a look and they got a role. So, I mean, that's just me. I'll turn it over to a little bit more of an expert in this industry than I am. I'm just a fan. Go ahead, Sammy.
All right. I mean, that's one side of it. So I agree with Jay. This has been a long time coming. Diamond Distributors has been a monopoly on the comic industry for years. They have super shady practices when you're dealing with creators. They jack up the prices to make them near not affordable. And they have ordering minimums and stuff. And then there's been about 10 years where they just send you as a shop owner whatever they want. And you have to pay for it. They're a super shady company to deal with as a shop and a creator. If you like, say I have a project that I want out and I want it distributed through Diamond. Well, they're going to double what I want to sell it at and then take 50%, take the 50% they marked it up. So if it's $10, I'm selling it for 10, but I'm distributing it through them for 20. They take the 50% that they mark it up, and then they take an additional commission out of my portion as well. And if I don't get necessary numbers, they drop it. And then I get nothing. And then I can't distribute it because of their contracts for a certain amount of time. So this is a long time coming. I think in the beginning it's going to be a little rocky because lots of comic book shops are set in their ways. They've been used to Diamond for 25 years. It's a one-stop shop. In the long run, though, it's actually going to be better for I think it's going to be better for the comic industry because you're going to be able to order, you're going to have to order from multiple different places, which might suck, but you're going to get a more affordable comic book price when it comes down to it. And you're going to get more work. Like you're going to get more creator-owned projects that are out and stuff like that. If multiple distribution, if there's multiple distributors now of comics, it's now a lot more feasible for me as an independent creator to, Phil's right. It's going to be a lot more feasible for me to get my work in comic book shops because I don't have to, suck Diamond's tea and kowtow to them and, have to deal with them. So I think right now it's going to be a little rocky because it's something that's kind of never been done before in the comic industry. I think DC absolutely was right to do it. Maybe their execution and timing sucked, but they're ripping the Band-Aid off. There's never going to be a good time for it. So they already have another distributor already lined up, and I can't remember, it starts with an L or has an L in it, but they already have another distributor. And if those distributor prices can give you a better price than what you're getting on Diamond, because Diamond's the only game in town, so they're going to be competitive, which means Diamond's prices are going to lower, and you're just going to get more access to more creator-owned content, and in general see either not lower prices, but a slow climb or the increase of price will drastically slow. If they're, as a shop owner, I have enough experience on my end that, it's gonna suck as a shop owner having to put in orders to Marvel, to Diamond, to this, to that. But in the long run, most businesses have multiple suppliers anyway. So suck it up, if you're getting more customers and a better product, and you have to order from 2 more places, at least you're guaranteed to get what you want, what you're going to order, and not get, 10,000 copies of this random ass comic book that you now magically have to sell and pay for that you never ordered, because that's Diamond's MO to get their numbers. And so I'm for it. If Diamond, as a creator, if Diamond goes down and burns in a fiery car crash, all for it. I mean, and it's, what's also a shitty move for everyone, Diamond trying to power play everyone by saying, we're not accepting any more product. Who the fuck do they think they are doing that?
They did.
What power play shit are they trying to pull?
Well, Diamond at one point did. Diamond at one point was not taking any, new creator unless you didn't have a comic through.
They still aren't, as to my knowledge, unless you're connected to one of the big 2 or the big 3. I'll put Image in there as well. You're there's no way I could pick up the Dark Side of Oz and get in unless I pay them.
Right, you pay
10,
them.
Well, at the time, it was 10 or 15 grand to list my book. And then they would take over 50%. They'd take the 50% markup they did, plus a piece of my 50%. And if I hit the numbers, then I'd get my check cut. Yeah. So, I mean, why? Why would I do that when I can put my shit up on Amazon and reach the world with much better numbers and a much more affordable price.
Mhm.
I
And
can
now
probably
it's social.
create space on Amazon and
And
still.
what about with social media? You probably have more of a reach and try to reach more of your fans, and fans can share that and go crazy with that. Direct them to your website, and you can probably get more.
Yeah, honestly, I think Diamond the last couple of years, and I'll say the last 10 years, has been up and down, treading water. It's a dinosaur. It's a catalog company where we don't need catalogs. We don't order from catalogs anymore. I remember when I was a kid, I would get my previews and I'd be so excited because I got to see all my stuff. And now I don't even think they make previews anymore. Like, and if they do, why waste the money? Because
The last preview I got was like 4 years ago, and that was about it. That was the last preview I got.
but the thing is, we're not a catalog. We don't purchase by catalog anymore.
No.
I mean, honestly, I don't particularly have any sort of connections to the comic book shops in my area, for various reasons. But when I want a comic book, I don't I look on Amazon and I buy from another comic book shop somewhere in the US and it gets mailed to me, because I have Prime, but I buy it from a comic book shop. I don't buy it from Amazon. But, so I've gotten comics from tons of different comic books. But my first thought isn't, oh, let me go down the street and buy. That's just me personally. I don't think, to go to my local comic book shop and pick it up. But I don't regularly get comics. It's very rare that I buy comics. But when I used to get comics and have them pulled every month, then yeah, I would go and do it and I was all excited. But, I think that's surprising they still make the catalog. Ben Hillman just said it.
I haven't seen the catalog in over 10 years. I remember getting that back in the early 2000s. I used to get the catalog, and the only thing I would buy off it, I'd look in there for statues.
Yeah.
I would always be buying statues and collectibles and toys, and I would always see what they have. And I'd go to my comic guy, Kenny, and I go, "Hey, Ken, can you order me this?" He goes, "What do you have?" I folded every page that I wanted something, and I highlighted what I wanted. All right, no problem. You need to order me whatever. He knew what I liked for my comics, but I never ordered the comics through there. He'd always put the comics aside for me. He knew what I was into. So I never ordered from the book.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, even statues.
Yep.
Even statues. You go on collectible websites, or you look up Amazon. Like I bought a statue from a collectible place in Honolulu that had a certain statue, a video game statue that I wanted, and it was like 30% less through Amazon, like through the seller on Amazon, than it was ordering it like straight up off of from a comic book shop, like through Diamond, distributed through Diamond. With the way but with the access, Diamond served its purpose when we wanted stuff imported and small comic book shops couldn't affordably import stuff, or get that stuff. Diamond was the place that did it. But I think, and they charge you for the friggin' catalog too. It was like $4.95 or whatever. But I think, I think it's a dinosaur, and I think they've been beating a dead horse for the last, probably close to 10 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5, especially with DC pulling out one of the big 2, in 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if Diamond got its teeth kicked in.
So you're saying with this happening right now, it'd be great because they can drop the price on a lot of comics that are just overpriced.
Yeah. Honestly, more companies, once DC gets gets a setting, like a foothold,
Right.
and the other companies see like, oh shit, yeah, we could do this. No, like we can do this too. Then you're gonna see Marvel pull out, because Marvel doesn't need Diamond. It's got Disney, and Disney's distribution is way bigger. So you're going to see Marvel pull out probably within the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Image Image can easily,
Do their
move
own
to
thing.
another distribution company, and you're gonna see Diamond fizzle away because they've overpriced and bent so many comic book shops over the barrel, over the last 25 years that nothing for nothing, but the butt cheeks are getting chapped, and we have the internet now, and when we didn't have the internet, you were stuck. But welcome to modern technology.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think people are just tired of just. I mean, look, creators now and then, if you're a new creator and you're trying to get like that big market, Diamond's the place to be. But then Diamond is literally bending you over and literally taking all your profits before you even make a profit, which is great that you're building a name, but is it really worth it? And
Well,
essentially,
Diamond won't
no.
take you unless you're a name,
Right.
unless you're attached.
No, you could still, if you go on Diamond right now, they take independent artists. But you're right, you get
They make
charged
you
a lot
pay.
of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
But
take a
in
chunk.
order for them to distribute your stuff appropriately, you need a name. You need to be a name, or you need to be attached to a named publisher,
Right.
like Vanguard and Marvel, DC. And if Marvel and DC picked up your book, or you were a really super famous comic book artist that could stand on its own, and they could see the value of having your name in their catalog, then they might either lower or waive that simply because of your fame. But if you're, little Joey Schmidt who's got a cool superhero story and wants to get your comic book out, you're better off self-publishing and then just cold calling comic book shops and getting them to jump on board, or doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I mean, when we had Coloring Book of the Dead, I cold called comic book shops.
Right.
And sold like 2,000 Coloring Book of the Deads that way. And it was just a direct fulfillment. It's like, all right, they're this much. How much you like? How many would you like signed by me and Tommy? Awesome.
Right.
Thanks so much. And the comic shops loved it. They thought it was awesome.
But people don't cold call anymore. There's so many current like authors and comic book artists today that do not cold call comic book shops because they are too afraid that comic book shops will not carry their stuff.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because Diamond has such monopolized everything that I remember walking into one shop in Dallas, Texas, and one of the guys said, I don't take independent comic books. I buy directly from Diamond. And when I heard that, I'm like, wow, you're actually hurting the current industry. And I told the guy, what if Diamond folds tomorrow? Where would you get your comics? And he says, well, I'd probably call up Marvel and DC myself. And I asked the guy again, do you have the direct number? And he says, no, I'll probably figure that part out.
Well,
right. Mike shakes his head. Like, that's the type of business that people have to deal with. Like,
that fear was instilled by Diamond in them.
Right.
That fear. What if it doesn't sell? My bills on Diamond are so high that I can't afford to take on this little independent comic from them. And what if I don't sell it? I can't make my money back.
Mm-hmm.
And Diamond strong-armed all the comic book shops into basically brainwashed them to that fear of never getting anything new unless it was put out by the big three. Yeah. So I'm happy for it to go. I am so happy for it to go. It's like shackles around the neck of the comic industry, in my opinion, in my experience.
Exactly. While other shops are sitting there complaining, guess what? You can learn, just like everyone else, to take the next wheel and actually do something about it. Oh, great. I got to make one more extra phone call. It's not a hard sell. They could easily call DC Comics themselves, too, because they have a direct line, and go from there. And people forget, at one point, DC had direct distribution from their own
Diamond came into the picture, yeah.
Yeah, so
Diamond wasn't the only. It wasn't the only game in town in the 80s and early 90s, and then through the 90s with the comic boom, it became basically like one step from a monopoly, and that's exactly why, because they can't afford their Diamond bill,
If you have $40,000, you only got 1 month's worth of inventory. That's it. So you couldn't recover that.
Yeah, and that's the worst. That's the worst. is the fact that, I'm basically agreeing with everybody. Pops is right. It's the perfect way of saying it. Diamond has held the,
They've pigeonholed everything.
Heroes World, you're right. Diamond has held the industry hostage for years. They got into a position of power and then they just put their, well, I'm not going to say,
Yep.
Let me rephrase that. They bent you over the barrel.
They've chicken-folded you. They've pretty much held you on for every loose penny and cent.
So
exactly. And the worst part was you could say, okay, I want this many Batmans, this many Supermans, this many this many that. And you could have an order that was like $5,000, which was completely doable. And then you get the shipment in. And the next thing you know is you've got 3 times the amount of your order, and Diamond sends you a $15,000 inventory bill because they decided that because of your contract with Diamond, they're just going to send you all of this shit that they want you to sell, and you have to figure it out. And you can't mail it back because that's the way they work.
I noticed that with near me, there's a place called Toy Vault.
Yeah.
And they're a sponsor of Rhode Island Comic Con and stuff like that. And they're really good guys. But I go in there now and I see where they have their comics and they're sitting deep on like a certain title, 15, 20 copies deep. And it's like, and I asked him one day, I was like, dude, was this just a shitty line or something? Did I sell? He goes, nah, Diamond just sent us whatever. And I'm like, and when I was collecting, I would go in there and I'd get almost 15 to 20 titles a week, like collecting wise for a good 2-3 years. And it was like, oh, hey, you wanted a cool comic cover or like a variant? They needed to order X amount of this to get 1 or 2.
That's right.
And I was like, and you held them hostage, like you're saying. And that's not right when you're doing that to your industry. And now you wonder why a lot of comic shops are drying up and Diamond's just like, come on. You're not having a lot of stuff out there for distribution. The only thing that might save Diamond, honestly, will be if places like Walmart or Target bail them out and take their shit. But Walmart and Target aren't going to just sit there and accept that bill that sits there goes, oh, well, you ordered 10 grand worth. Here's 40,000. Walmart's going to be like,
if they get a deal with Walmart and Target, do you want to know how much Walmart and Target are going to take per book? You know how much money? 20.
At that point, they wouldn't even go through Diamond because what they would do is they would talk directly to Marvel, and then so. It being in the print industry, and by that I mean as a print shop person who was in a print shop. So what would end up happening is because it's such a large quantity of books that would go to, say, we'll use Target as the example. They would talk directly to. They wouldn't talk to a third party. They wouldn't talk to a middleman. Target would talk to Marvel Comics directly, and then Marvel Comics would have their print company. Formerly Le Bon Fon in Canada, to mail them to Target's distribution center directly. So there is no middleman when it comes to the bigger, box stores coming with comics and books. There's no distribution. There's direct because one, it's a better deal, and two, those companies will they can offer a better profit margin back to Marvel without the middleman.
And I was going to say, and you figure where you were talking earlier, where Disney might just sit there and take Marvel and do their own distribution. They could probably deal with Disney directly and get a phenomenal deal and be like, hey, look, we already take all your T-shirts, your toy lines. We do all this stuff. Yeah. What's up with your comic lines? Like, let's get going on it. And that would be a win-win for them.
Heck yeah. And having comics, like when I was a kid, I remember walking into the grocery store and there was always that turnstile by the registers of all the comics. And like there aren't any because Diamond fucked that up. And so I think with
I don't even see Archie comics anymore in the supermarket.
They're only magazines. I don't even see the little I
used to always remember going into Stop and Shop, Shaw's, Almax, all these things.
They're in the magazine
section. Next to the nudie mags in the gas stations.
Yeah.
You had Batman and then Penthouse. I mean, that was little
you have Archie and Jughead next to a copy of Jugs from Penthouse. So it worked out well. They cross merchandise.
Well, you have to go to one of those cigar smoke shops to find those, pretty much.
Well, here's the thing: is part of the reason that got axed was because back in the day, before Diamond had Diamond were assholes, they would say, okay, the big two would only distribute through those guys, through Diamond. And now Diamond has jacked the prices way up that the grocery stores, convenience stores, they don't see much of a profit. So it's like, well, why should we
go through someone else for the magazines anyway? And
right.
even if so, they're like, we don't want to deal with that. And don't forget, when you distribute to like the supermarkets and everything else, they tear out that front cover and ship you back the comic book without the front cover.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, but when you have now multiple distributors of comic books, you're going to see comics once again. I feel you're going to see comics now carried over through multiple different stores, not just your general bookstore, your comic book shop, because like that's it. You got it online, the comic book shop, and maybe Barnes and Noble, Books A Million kind of thing, but I think you're going to see them in more places now, because there's now more options and you can get better deals. And who's to say that, the distributors of all the weird, wacky shit and toys isn't going to pick up distributing comics?
Trust me, GameStop's trying.
Oh, I know. Well, ThinkGeek has comics, has a wall of comics.
Yeah, but ThinkGeek is owned by GameStop. We bought them. We own them. Yes. So GameStop bought out ThinkGeek, and GameStop was trying to do in Texas around Grapevine, where our main distribution center is and our main corporate office is. They put a couple of spinner racks in some of the places, but it didn't sell very well. But they're still trying to make it a thing. They're looking at areas that are high volume, like $3 million, $4 million stores. So like Los Angeles, New York, like Chicago, big areas that they want to capitalize on. And they figure that's going to put that there. I feel like that's going to hurt the small mom and pop comic shops, because now half the time you can't get the toys that you would buy at a comic store because you can walk into a GameStop, FYE, Hot Topic, all these places now that sell that stuff. Why are you going to your local comic store where they have to probably buy X amount to make a slight profit? GameStop has bigger buying powers over 8,000 stores across the world. It really sucks a lot, big time. Yeah, and trust me, guys, I don't want to sell the comics in my stores. I want to keep them in comic stores. I want people going there. So please don't think I'm trying to take money away from you guys. I love a comic store.
Well, the cool thing is this, though. If the big two do get into, the big comic companies, Diamond drops, the big comic companies go back into bigger stores, that means your local comic book shops, independent and indie comics, are going to fill that void. And they're gonna fill that vacuum in those comic book stores, and then you're gonna get like cool shit that you would have never seen otherwise.
Yeah, but now here's the trick with that. Do you think those comic stores would be able to survive just on indie stuff?
No.
Well, not just on indie stuff. That's not to say that comic book shops are gonna still survive on the big two and toys and stuff like that. But, you're also going to get a broader range of comics. Like that indie comics is going to come in and take up some of that vacuum, I think. And it's one of those
your main choices of Superman, Batman, and the X-Men. Yeah, you now have a new variety of
Oz
you never had before.
Yeah, you'll have the Dark Side of Oz or Bubblegum Rocket Memories or this or that. And you're gonna get a lot more of the European comics that we don't even get here.
That would be interesting.
And
so I think DC ripping the Band-Aid off and getting away from Diamond is the first step in the industry, like significantly changing. Like we are now headed down a road that's going to be awesome for creators and readers because of the overhead pricing. The price gouging is hopefully going to stop, and I think it's going to be rough for at least a year or two. I don't think it's magically going to get better right away, but once the comic book shops get used to everything, and figure out how to adapt their business plan for the new, the new world comic books. I think you're gonna see like a big difference, and you're gonna see different people in the comic shops, not just the Marvel, DC superhero-y people or the anime kids.
Well, you know who has it rough these days?
No.
Joe Exotic. Now, Joe Exotic.
That was like a perfect
segue.
Just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, man. You led me down that path. I just was like, what? How am I talking about this now?
Right? So Carol Baskins has now taken over Joe Exotic's old zoo. But short story, you remember when Carol Baskins has a lawsuit against Joe Exotic and Joe Exotic never paid her? Well, she went after through court and was able to get the remaining lawsuit money from Joe Exotic. And during that time, Jeff Love has purchased all of Joe Exotic's old cat and old zoo. So what does Carol Baskins do? Goes after Jeff, takes the zoo, takes the tigers. Now Joe Exotic's tigers are now under Carol Baskins' hands.
I read somewhere now. I have not watched that show. I will never watch that show. Mostly because it takes place in Florida, and I don't want to look at that going, oh God. So
I live down the street from that.
Right. Well, I don't know where they are in Florida, but I did read that the sheriff she's under investigation on her own because they discovered her husband's will is a forgery.
Actually, that passed because it was past the statute of limitations. They cannot go back to that case. And yes, it did come up that.
But even though it's past like limitations, can't the family still go after her now?
No,
like, can't they open something new into it?
It's past 7 years. So what they are going to go through is still the fact that the body's still missing. That's an ongoing case.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that Carol Baskins walked out with the family money and the family did sue and they had another chance to sue, that moment has actually passed, and it passed 4 or 5 months ago. But the sheriff has said on public that everything that he's picked up and noticed in the past several months is full of forgery. That the will, it was forged, everything was forged. And I'm going, so the only way to get past the statute of limitations is you actually have to go to Supreme Court, not state Supreme Court, but Washington, D.C. Supreme Court. So that's a whole nother thing where if they choose to or not to, I mean, if they're only part of the Ringling Circus, they can do that. But right now, Carol Baskin's got the cats.
You know what, though? I watched that show months ago when it first came on. I absolutely loved that train wreck of a show. You watched that show and you literally thought to yourself, this can't be a documentary. Like, there's no way in hell. Like, even Hollywood, as messed up as Hollywood is, even they couldn't come up with something as crazy as this show.
Oh no, that's Florida Man, 1,000%. You got Florida Man and Florida Woman. That's just normal for Florida. Like you look at the news, not to sidetrack you, but you look at the news and you see, a homeless man, a meth head, homeless meth head, was shitting on traffic today, swinging from a traffic light. And that's a normal Florida headline.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a joke. Like,
I know it's not. I know it's not.
So it's hilarious. And it's like, oh God, like, I told Ben, I'm like, don't watch it. Don't watch it. That's not what we're like. Oh, that's not what I'm like.
Why? Well, like we're still seeing the guy high on bath salts, like eating another man's face. That's not Florida.
That was Miami, and that definitely was Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're at. Like, I thought that they were more up north rather than down south.
I think they're more near between Miami and Orlando, are they not? I mean,
I don't know. You'd have to look.
Looking it up.
I didn't watch it because I didn't want to go, keep it classy, Florida.
Michael put me on it. So Michael and I will talk about
No, don't do not blame just me. That was me and Tommy.
That was you and Tommaso.
Me and Tommaso. We turned John to that stuff
on
like
Tiger
that.
King, and I sat there watching Tiger King because
Dumbfounded.
his 90 Day Fiance nonsense. He's like, Tiger King.
You know, Ben's friends are like, you have to go on 90 Day Fiance and bring Ben over there.
You
I'm
could
like,
do that.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
We've been telling Tommaso to do that with his girl from Australia.
Yeah.
And, so we've been telling him that. So you got to do it.
Australia. So
one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys ever watched Saturday Night Live. There's the character on there, Stefan. Do you remember Stefan on Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
And he was part of the weekend news update. They did a meme of him, and he literally goes, "The Tiger King has everything: tigers, lions, murder, a gay redneck throuple, a one-armed lesbian, alligator arson, mullets, pizza made from expired Walmart meat, a zoo-based sex cult, a crazy cat lady, and country songs about tigers and gay love." That describes that show. And if I ever told you that was a show on Netflix, you'd probably laugh at me like that does not exist.
wait, didn't I do that when we had the live show?
Yes, you did. You laughed at me like that cannot be in the show. We're like, no,
Right.
You have to watch this. And finally, Carol Baskin.
You and Tommaso says this can't be real. Is this really a show? And both of you jumped on me and says, yes, go on Netflix right now. And then later that night, you handed me your account for Netflix.
Yep. I was like, you got to watch it. Here's my account. Log in, watch it, please.
When I saw it, I thought it was like a joke mockumentary. And then Ben, I think, watched a couple episodes, and he's like, "No, honey, that's real. Like those are real people." And I'm like, "Oh my god,
And the funny
I'm not
thing is,
watching this."
So now to go back with Carol, where she's finally getting the zoo. If she actually gave two craps about the cats and everything like that back in the day when she was suing, Joe Exotic, she should have went after the zoo and got that away from him. She didn't make it about the cat. She wanted to bankrupt him and take all his money, and then he kept swapping everything under his mom's name, his dad's name, whoever was with
that boyfriend that he had.
Yeah, and the boyfriend that was he married like two straight men that ended up having relations with women and children and married and whatnot. One looked like a wish version of Dave Bautista sitting in a couch with his shirt out. And so the show is the best thing ever. And then now she finally gets it. And now she finally has the show. Like she has that. And I hope they investigate that now and they really find out where her husband is. It's just, I don't know, self-lard. And the craziest thing about it is, what's the movie, Scarface? Yeah. So the guy that is Scarface, was Al Pacino played the guy. In real life, that guy is actually on Tiger King, and he is one of the nicest people. He was actually like one of the nicest people on that show. Yeah. And this guy is like
the Lord guy that was on the show was actually the only one where he ended up actually having a real interview during the whole entire thing. And I think he was there for like the whole entire day. Like it's actually happened. Like
that's hilarious.
Like, episodes or whatever are on this guy's lot. And it almost looked like the Tiger version of the Playboy Mansion with cartel money in Florida or wherever he's in.
I mean, Escobar was like, he was a super chill dude.
Yep.
But
Mexico doesn't want Florida. No one wants Florida.
Nobody wants Florida. Not even Florida wants Florida.
But this reporter also had to go through loopholes just to get to that house.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that guy was one of the nicest people ever. Like, I actually felt bad for the guy. And I'm like, he's a drug kingpin that killed people, murdered people, but he actually takes care of cats, and he's a great guy. I'm like, how am I feeling bad for this guy?
No, but remember in the documentary, he was actually said he was told not to bring any of that stuff up. And you hear him, you hear him, and he kind of asked the question once, and he says, no, I don't want to talk about it. And he continued with other stuff. So it's on film that he tried to talk about the past, and he had no problem talking about that drug past. Are you a kingpin? Are you this? Because if he says you're a kingpin, 5 dudes behind that reporter are holding AK-47s. One of them was gold-plated.
Yeah.
On a side note, I have a major thunderstorm rolling through, so if I disappear, it means I've lost electric.
Oh, we still have 20 minutes left, so it'll be the best 20 minutes.
Well, yeah. Oh, thanks. Go fuck yourself.
We love you.
We love you. If you go missing is one thing. No, kidding.
I go,
Tigers got you.
don't go missing.
Well. Speaking about jackass things, pretty much since we were on Tiger King, how about the fact that Tiger King? I was like,
Tiger King and Jackass.
you know what?
Yes.
You know what? This would not surprise me. The fact that Jackass 4 is currently being greenlit as of right, was being greenlit. Shaquille O'Neal's come out and says that he must box Johnny Knoxville in the upcoming movie. Now, this reminds me of when Butterbean and Johnny Knoxville got into that boxing fight. I don't see this going very well in the first place for Knoxville. The fact that Shaq wants to do this kind of really, dude? I mean, I could see the guys, 3 of the Jackass guys, play Shaq and a 1-on-1 or a 3-on-1. That'd be a funny, interesting thing. Or let's go paintballing and get Shaq. Or maybe we get something else. Or maybe get some tigers, lions, and bears. Oh my! With this stuff's going on. I mean, one guy had a bear.
They're doing another Jackass. Like, aren't they all like in their 50s at this point?
So the
it's the geriatric ward to the nursing
I
home.
know.
Right.
Like, what are they gonna like? They're all old and broken at this point. You know, someone can barely walk.
Guys, honestly though, like, how can they do Jackass Part 4 when it's called YouTube now? Like, are you kidding me? YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, like.
You have one problem. You have one problem doing the whole entire thing. You have Ryan Dunn, who has passed away, he's not around anymore.
That was the redheaded dude, right?
That was the one that died in a car accident.
Yeah, he had like red hair and a goatee.
We had
He wore a hat backwards.
Yeah, Ryan Dunn is no longer around. But before that, they had the guys. They had Travis Pastrana's team, which was all the motocross, motorcycle, race.
Isn't that the circus? The circus.
Nitro Circus is also part of Dick House Productions at one point, which was under MTV. And you also have Rob Dyrdek, and I believe you have a few other people. So there's enough people for the Dick House Productions that basically created Jackass to.
Yeah, but what are they gonna do?
It'll be stunts. It'll be like they did for the last Jackass movie where they couldn't go. Remember in the first Jackass movie, they couldn't go in public. So they had to think about every crazy stunt they can think of, including the toy car up someone's butt, going into the X-ray machine, to bungee poo thing.
Yeah, but that had its value back in the day when it was shocking and you could never get it anywhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, I could just look it up on YouTube, like Mike said.
Yep.
You know,
But in true Jackass form, they can take those failed stunts that they see on TV and they've seen on YouTube and everything, and they can go and do it themselves in a safe environment. I mean, we've seen half of the safe environment. Exactly.
I think they're beating a dead horse.
Look,
I think that's exactly what this is.
Michael can add to this. When he had Bam Margera as one of his guests, I'm not gonna lie, I stood behind him hoping that Bam was gonna do something really fucking stupid, and it never happened. And even he himself and the rest of the Rhode Island Comic-Con staff was standing around on their toes, literally, by having Bam Margera there as a guest, was on their toes 24/7 to see what would Bam do next. And
he did nothing.
Right.
But actually, the funny thing is, actually, Bam did do a couple of stupid things, but it was nothing like, oh my God, we're going to be on TMZ or anything like that. Thank God.
Right.
Although they were following him around all weekend while he was in town.
Yes, TMZ was in the building.
But one thing Bam did do, and I actually caught a glimpse of it. I was walking by the celebrity area up on the 5th floor. I walked by and somebody had told me that fans are going up to Bam Margera and they want him to kick him square right there in the nards. And he was like, I don't know if I can do this. And they're like, he asked his agent, and his agent's like, I don't care if they pay you for it, you can do whatever you want, but they have to sign a waiver. So they went to the internet, found a waiver, they signed it. 5 people literally stood in line and let him I mean, he was kicking a field goal 60 yards and he nailed a couple of dudes. And these guys dropped, got back up after a few minutes, came over and he gave him a free, like, quick selfie with them and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, dude, you're going like this. I watched one of them. I watched this dude jump off the ground a good 4 or 5 feet in the air, land on his knees, and I was like, this kid's never having kids. Like, done. And Bam, and I know one of the guys, Phil, is like, Bam's not totally in shape, and yes, that is true. He is in shape. It's round. But he was actually cool, like, all weekend. I will admit, he was pretty chill. It was pretty fun having him around. But we were worried, like, he was going to do something like, throw a mattress out the 13th floor of the Omni Hotel while trying to, like, bungee jump with it or something. Like, we were worried, and we kept worrying if Steve-O was going to show up. Like,
Could
we
you
were worried
imagine,
Steve-O was
like,
coming.
him doing Evel Knievel, him running through the hotel window with the mattress, and he lands on either someone or one of the cars below? Like, that's the stunt. Meanwhile, we see later on video that there was someone actually standing below waiting to video the damn thing, and then someone in the hotel room waiting for him to cut through the glass.
Yeah.
And there we go, going, yep, this convention is going to change for the rest of our lives.
Well, thank God he didn't do anything stupid.
Just because something's greenlit doesn't mean it's going to get made, is the other thing.
Well, how about this? Since we're talking about things being greenlit right now, why don't we talk about Cate Blanchett confirmed to be in the next Borderlands movie? I mean, the fact that Borderlands right now creating a film out of this, yes, Cate Blanchett is confirmed to play, if I remember correctly, Lilith in the Borderlands franchise. So she is one of the first cast members to be listed in the Borderlands movie franchise. So
I never played it, but the visuals always caught my attention.
Yes, with the post-apocalyptic,
the sort of cel-shaded, cartoony.
Yes.
I think I like that. Nothing for nothing, but I like that Cate Blanchett is doing like comic movies and video game fun stuff. Like, I'm happy she's reached that point of her career where she's like, yeah, I've proven myself. I'm just gonna take shit that I think is fun. Because I mean,
she's a critically acclaimed actress. She's won awards and whatnot. Why not have a little fun and open yourself up to a new, audience that might not have seen you before or something, or maybe just fell in love with you. Hey, I saw you as on Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
And now you get that in this. I haven't played the Borderlands games too much. So I don't know all the characters. I know like Tiny Tina. I know Claptrap. I know Handsome Jack. I don't know the Lilith character and stuff like that. My fear was, me and him were talking the other day when he told me, I was like, please, she can't play Mad Moxie. Like, there's no way in hell she's playing Mad Moxie. I just don't see her playing that character. But now I can see the Lilith, and I'm looking at like an image of her as Lilith. I'm like, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of actors are getting on the comic video game film bandwagon, for lack of a better way to put it, because it's not seen as trash movie anymore. Like, it's seen as like a legitimate blockbuster, popular,
well, Martin Scorsese still has a problem with Marvel and DC movies, so that's going to be the main problem.
He has a problem with it because they're making money and no one's buying his films.
Well, the fact that if you're regurgitating the same gangster movie all the time, and then Marvel and DC creates their version of a gangster movie, and that gangster movie does better than his, like the way Joker did in a way. I mean, granted, Scorsese was the one who was originally supposed to direct Joker.
Yeah.
He bowed down, but he made sure Robert De Niro was still cast in the movie because he cast them in the movie. Yeah. And guess what? Robert De Niro still did an amazing job for just such a small role.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's those in the industry that change with the industry and are happy for the change. And then there are those that they rail against change. Now, I mean, when you go to a Martin Scorsese film, you don't go to see a big blockbuster explosion action popcorn film. This is a film that you go to wanting to get emotionally invested and be in the character. It's storytelling. It's drama. You don't go to a Scorsese film with fucking popcorn like, yay, I'm having fun. there's a difference between a popcorn flick where you go like Marvel DC flicks where you go with your popcorn and your date and you want to go see shit blow up and, giant robots punch each other. You're not getting cultural enrichment from that because you are not going for that.
All right.
But you go to a Scorsese film and you do get cultural, I say cultural enrichment, but you get emotional turmoil and cultural enrichment, and it's serious and drama. So there are two different types of people, and they're two different types of films, so it's like.
And two different types of emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the name of Scorsese's last movie that was on Netflix? That was like 4.5 hours long?
I have no idea.
Oh, The Irishman. The Irishman.
All right.
Yep.
So if you watch The Irishman and you watch The Joker and you're with a significant other for the night, which one are you going to bed? Are you going straight to bed with one, or are you going straight to
bed with your terrible date movies.
Like
If you're bringing a girl to get laid,
no, but
from one of those films, they're both awful.
No,
don't do it. That you'd have better luck getting laid after Birdman than either of those films.
Fair. They do a Birdman movie, which didn't they? They did do a Birdman movie, right?
Yeah.
Michael Keaton played Birdman.
Michael Keaton.
Yep.
But that's the thing. I think films. Scorsese is as they would say, a purist. Like he would call himself a purist, and he sees films in one way. He is not a versatile director. Is he amazing at what he does? Yes. Has he kind of fallen into his own trope in his old age and resting on his laurels? Abso-fucking-lutely. Did he earn to do that? Yes. But
I think going with Borderlands, though, being into a movie franchise and stuff like that, that is something that's going to help. I think, and it could be something that is going to, we might get a good video game movie, which could be something kind of cool, which we haven't had a very good video game converted into a movie.
Well, Tim says he's looking forward, or he's waiting for Mortal Kombat, which
I would love a good Mortal Kombat movie.
Well, they have started the casting process. They had listed 5 or 6 of the cast members for Mortal Kombat, and yet we were still stagnant about the whole entire thing. But we did get the short version where we got the one that went straight to DVD, which was the YouTube version of Mortal Kombat.
Which had, so the funny thing is, we bring back Michael Jai White. He played Jackson Brown, which was Jax in that, where he fought against Baraka, who was a doctor who did modifications on himself. And you had Jerry Ryan from the Borg from Star Trek, who played Sonya Blade. And I remember that clip, and I watched that and that action sequence. Oh my God, that kicked almighty ass. That was what I wanted for a Mortal Kombat movie, and the grittiness of that and everything. And yet it got kind of greenlit for like an indie flick in a way. I owned the set, but come on. Like
to answer Phil, no, I have not watched a new Mortal Kombat animated movie. Michael has.
I have. I did see that. It kind of reminds me of they rehashed the original movie per se for a lot of the stuff, but they did focus more on Scorpion's background history with the Quaylen and the Sub-Zero character. Absolutely fantastic. That is something that if you don't want your child to watch an animated movie that is bloody, violent, and every swear word under the sun, do not let them. But the movie was phenomenal. They did an amazing job with that, and I'm hoping they can lead that into a franchise for animation like DC did with the DC universe for animation. I think it could be something that could definitely lead into, because look at what they're doing for video games with some of the video game the cut sequences and the storylines that they're coming with. They're absolutely incredible. And they actually brought Shao Kahn back for Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, the original Shao Kahn from the first Mortal Kombat movie from '95. He's playing Shao Kahn in the new video game and the new storyline. And it's absolutely incredible.
Storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but it looks amazing.
So real quick before we actually end our lovely little evening, a little bit of Comic-Con, little update right now. Wizard World Philadelphia that was listed for June 19th to 21st. Because of what's currently happening in Philadelphia, their show is now postponed to next year, which is January 15th to the 17th. So if no one knows right now, the same way how Michael made that face, as of this morning, Wizard World Philadelphia has postponed their current show to January 15th to the 17th. Mike,
I mean, I'm okay with them postponing because of the current situation with everything that's going on. But picking a time when you're going to put your Comic-Con on when, one, playoffs of your football team and your football team thinks it's good enough to make the playoffs.
right.
And then two, it's winter. Really? Where you're going to have big name guests flying in that could not get there because of storm delays in winter? That's
Here's the other problem.
risky.
Here's the other problem. Will Wizard World Philadelphia now have 2 shows in 1 year?
They have
Because
2 shows in January.
right, if they have their
New
January
Orleans and Philly.
right.
But it's January and then what? Usually it's August?
No, yeah,
No.
usually January is New Orleans, and then May, like anytime in May, sometimes in June is Wizard World Philly. So now they have 2 shows in the same month.
Yeah. And
Which,
they also have
they're kind of far away, so I don't really see like it being a huge deal. But I would never go to Pennsylvania in January.
and not even that. It's literally the year after. Everyone's already Christmas shopped the hell out of each other. I never like shows in January and February because people are still recovering from all the Christmas shopping that they did and all the rush that they did for Christmas. So I've never liked any of that stuff.
January's always been a dead month when it comes to conventions.
Yeah.
It's
January. I was gonna say January and like February would be good months if you have like little local 1-day, 2-day little shows in your neighborhood where it's like more geared towards local vendors and artists in that area. I think that'd probably be better suited. Putting on a big show like that, I don't see them making their.
Yeah, to me, if this was end of February into March, I'd be more happy, more okay with it and everything because of the fact that it's more near spring. Everyone's getting ready for it. It's after President's Day weekend. So
Plus, after income tax money comes in, they might have some money in their pocket to put towards something.
Correct.
You know.
So January for me has always been rough, and Sammy said too. She's not a big fan. None of us are a big fan. With a couple minutes left, plugs. Mike, go first. Plug away.
I mean, you can find me here every week with these two cool cats and kittens.
oh no, I'm fucking crazy. It's all good.
she's a crazy cat. Arash the kitten, we'll say. Now you can find me here. I kind of like shameless plug for my own little group on Facebook, BYOG. We call ourselves Be Your Own Geek. Please join us. We drop some cool stuff in there. These 2 guys are part of it, and you can check out some cool nerd stuff. That's it.
Sammy.
Same places as always. CastilloStudios.ninja, Castillo Studio or TS Castillo Studios on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. I am going to put a small plug out to a Kickstarter art book that I'm actually a part of that's out now called the South. Oh, fuck. I messed up the name. Hold on. It's South. Wait, hold on. Okay. Southeastern Artist Showcase. It's not up on my social media because the Kickstarter just launched a couple of days ago, but it's a bunch of awesome artists from the Southeast. So you've got me and Tommy in there, Kit Steele, bunch of really cool indie artists as well. So I'm going to throw that up on I just threw something off camera. My bad. So I'm going to, you never know what you're going to get. It's a little koala, if anybody wonders. I was playing with it on my pen. Ben's mom gave it to me, and I was like flinging it around, and it just went woo. Anyway, check out my social media. And as always, on Wednesdays nights, 7 Eastern, I live stream with Arash. And then I'm here every Sunday night with these 2 gentlemen.
Yes. My name is Arash Zandieh. Friends call me Hash. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Enjoy, please be safe, and drink responsibly.